My name is Richard Whitten. I'm an astrologer. I'm born October 20th. Each and every one of us is made in the image and likeness of God, of which we have to discover. The heavens give the DNA of our soul and help us to understand our attributes and foibles. The book of Genesis talks about God making us in his image and in his likeness. You have to earn this. You have to come out of darkness into his marvelous light. Planets tell a story. They tell you life is eternal. You never die. You never die. And you're going to reap what you sow. And it shows you what it is that you've sown and the potential that you have for overcoming. Now, we're on a new moon right now. New moon represents, it's a time when you should start new projects in whatever you do. The planet Mercury is about to go direct. When Mercury is retrograde, it causes all types of problems with communication, the mail, anything that could go wrong goes wrong on a retrograde Mercury. Mercury rules is part of the soul. The soul, what constitutes the soul? The soul is the mind, the will, and the emotion, or the sun, moon, and Mercury. The sun represents the father. The moon represents the mother. In every male's chart, the moon represents the type of woman he will marry. Can't help it, because he can only marry what's in him. And in her chart, her sun represents the man that she's going to marry. So if there's afflictions, you can't help but marry an affliction. So when we understand that we can overcome afflictions by the blood of the Lamb, then we could be about our Father's business. Well, most people are not really conscious of soul growth and the need for soul growth. You don't ever have to have a problem in life because you're the one that's creating it. And if you understand that you're creating it through the way you think and how you digest things. So if you come in contact with an ignorant person, you have to show that ignorant person love, which means much patience. I'm going to give the key word for the planets and the signs they're in and help to understand that there is a cycle that is greater than you could ever imagine. And what I mean by that is, let me just give the basic astrological planetary keywords. Keyword for the sun is I will. Keyword for the moon is I feel. The moon rules the first 7 years of your life. The moon rules the subconscious mind. The moon is what you are acting out of. It represents your mother. And it represents the woman in a man's chart. And it represents the female in her chart. So, keyword for the moon is I feel. Rules the first 7 years. Keyword for Mercury is I think. And as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Some people are born with afflicted Mercuries. That means that during the time, let's say if your Mercury was squaring your moon, the moon rules your home. And if Mercury is squaring your moon, that means that you grew up in a home that was full of stress and lots of unsettledness where your nervous system is concerned. So a lot of people growing up in that type of environment grow up with nervous type tendencies or feeling unsure about themselves. Now, the moon and Mercury are very important because it has to do with your feeling on how you feel about yourself and your self-talk. Keyword for Venus is either I balance when ruling Libra or I have when ruling Taurus. Keyword for Mars is I am, and Mars is the sun's right-hand man. The sun represents the Father, the spiritual Father, and Mars represents Christ, because Mars is the Father's right-hand man. The key word for Mars is I am. And everyone here uses their I ams one way or another, either to further their life or to destroy their life. And what do I mean by that? When you use I am sick and tired. Anytime you use your I am like that, you bring yourself into the wiles of the devil that comes to rob, steal, and destroy. And the only way he can rob, steal, and destroy, he has to respond to what comes out of your mouth. So if you have afflictions to your Mercury, you can heal yourself from it if you understand that your life is a series of sowing and reaping processes. key word for Venus, a key word for Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. Key word for Jupiter is I see. And you could tell a lot of Jupiter people walking down the street because they're all big people, even if they may be born under another sign than Sagittarius. Jupiter is the co-ruler of Pisces. And where do the largest creatures of the earth live? In the water. I mean, you have a 50,000-pound whale. That's Pisces. Anything coming from the oceans or the sea, that's Pisces. And Pisces are some of the most brilliant people in the world. And the biggest. Just about everyone in the NBA. Like Charles Barkley, Pisces. Shaquille O'Neal, Pisces. I mean, one day on that talk panel, someone was saying that they had a birthday. And then they said, well, my birthday just passed too. Actually, everyone on that panel were Pisces. And Pisces rules the African in America. Not the African in Africa, but the African in America. And Pisces rules prisons, rules hospitals, rules suffering. The key word for Pisces is I believe. I believe, Lord, help my unbelief. I should have given a little rundown. In fact, I'll go back. The planet Mars is what produces karma. And karma has to do with whatever it is you sow, you're going to reap. You have many names for it in different cultures, but you can write your own ticket. I don't care what race you are, what gender you are. I don't care where you come from. You can write your own ticket because heaven is on earth and it's in you. Heaven is in each and every one of us, and we've got to discover it. So if you are on a track to discover heaven, for those that are on track to stay in hell, they're not going to appreciate you when you come around. So you're going to have to understand that so you can have patience for the indigent and for people that are ignorant. Because it's all about the light. And the key word for Jupiter is I see. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And Sagittarius rules the institutions of higher learning, rules the church, rules the way you see things, the way you see life. Key word for Sagittarius is I see, as I said. Key word for Scorpio is I desire. Everyone associates Scorpio with the sexual drive. Well, Scorpio does rule the sexual drive, and it also rules death. And people don't know every time they have sex, they're coming real close to getting knocked off. So people don't understand that, so they have to, if they do it decently in order, because I know many of my friends that happen to have been Scorpion that died in their 20s, copulating. So the key word for Scorpio is I desire. Scorpio is a sign of transformation. You find a lot of surgeons to be Scorpion. Scorpio are they can deal with the most hellish things on earth, where other people can't go in. Like if we had a crime scene and there was all types of debris, no thing to Scorpio people, because they deal with extremes. And the planet Pluto rules Scorpio. And Scorpio, more than any other sign, rules either heaven or hell. So there's no in-between where Scorpio is concerned. And then you have Libra. Libra, keyword for Libra, is I balance. I'm born 29 degrees, 53 minutes, Libra. So I'm a couple minutes before the sun went into Scorpio, and 29 degrees represents a person who has perfected something. Anytime you see 29 degrees in anyone's birth, you know that they have perfected a certain thing, whatever that thing is, depending on the sign and the aspects that it makes the planets. Because planets tell a story, and when they aspect each other, aspect meaning forming their angles, they give a even deeper revelation so far as the lineage is concerned. I knew our son was going to be an actor when he was born because his chart said it. So his mother, and I actually more myself because I was more conscious. My wife, when we got married, she was buying these books. This was during the mid-'60s. Costed her $40 and $50. Every month they'd be coming in. They were astrology books. I said, $50 for an astrology book? She says, that's my business and you leave them alone. If you don't like it, lump it. So I said, okay. And so they just kept on coming. And before I knew it, she had a great big library of all these expensive books. See, the planet Uranus hit her Mercury before it hit mine. Uranus rules astrology. And when Uranus hit my Mercury, there was my library already sitting there for me. And then I met a woman who was 87 years old when I was in my early 20s. She says, come, let me teach you about the unseen world. I remember where I am now. I left off with Jupiter, but I sometimes go off into little tangents because that's the way I do it. But she was 87 when I met her. My wife was extremely jealous because every time she turned around, I'm over at Mrs. Carter's house. And then I told her she should be ashamed of herself, being jealous of an 87-year-old woman. And when she met her, she says, Richard, I am so sorry. I said, well, don't say that. That's another thing. Colloquialisms that get handed down can be an abomination to your soul. And one of them is what I just said, I'm sorry. You are not sorry. You're beautifully and wonderfully made. You want to apologize? Say, I apologize. Well, the planet Saturn, the key word for Saturn is I use. And Saturn rules the law of reciprocity, the law of sowing and reaping. And Saturn right now is in the last degrees of Scorpio. And the sun's about to go into Scorpio. So because the key word for Scorpio is I desire, and because Scorpio rules death, and the key word for Saturn is I use, so the planet Pluto, which rules Scorpio, Pluto and Mars rule Scorpio. Mars rules detectives and people that do investigatory work. But Pluto rules research and the collective unconscious. The planet Pluto right now, and has been for the last 3 years, been in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn rules business. Capricorn rules governments. Keyword for Capricorn is I use. Pluto transforms. Let me just back up a little bit and talk about Pluto, because Pluto is a transformer, and it won't let you stay the same. Whatever sign it's in, if you know the industries that come under that sign, they're all dead or dying. Mrs. Carter said to me, Richard, when a malefic planets are planets that are slower movers, like benefic planets, like from the sun to Jupiter, are considered more benefic, and from Saturn to Pluto are more malefic. Malefic traditionally has been evil, but God didn't create anything evil. You know, in the beginning, when you begin to gather or glean this type of light, then you want to dramatize what it is that you've observed so that it can make you a little more reticent or a little more conscientious about not touching that. And I've always said, don't touch the tar baby. And I've always referred to any municipalities, the government, and the courts as the tar baby. And you touch the tar baby and it's all you wrote. So don't touch it. Let them be right. Let them tell you whatever it is, just don't touch it. So the planet Pluto is going to be in Capricorn for until 1926. And Capricorn people can get rich during this time. But they've got to transform the way they use their energies. You know, I said the key word for Capricorn is I use. Key word for Pluto is I desire. So I desire to learn how to use my gifts properly, because it's all about God. All the creation is about God. God is the creator. He created every one of us, and he wants his due. He wants someone to say, good gracious, you are an awesome God. You know, he wants some adulation here. Doesn't everyone like adulation? Don't we all like to be praised and thanked? That's what he wants. So he put these planets up there to tell a story. I went to Pluto, but I skipped over Uranus and Neptune. Uranus rules the age that we're moving into, which is called the Aquarian age. We're still in the Pisces age, and the Pisces age rules suffering. And suffering is supposed to make you humble. It's supposed to humble you, because sickness and disease can come to a place that you don't have any way out. The establishment can't help you, and so you would almost be on a death. You're almost like surely going to die, but you don't have to if you just change the way you think, which will cause you to speak differently. Begin to call those things to be not as though they were. And let me go back to Uranus. Uranus rules genius. Uranus is called the Great Awakener. Key word for Uranus is I know. And everyone here has Uranus in them, in their makeup, whether it be the chart. The chart is a wheel of the solar system, and every house has a meaning. And when you're born, the planets are positioned in various houses that tell a story about your life. I was born with the planet Uranus in the 4th house, which says I should leave my place of birth because I'll never succeed there. So me understanding the plight that I have in my place of birth helped me to forgive people because all they were doing was helping me leave. So if you don't have if you don't have a cattle prod, then you're not going to leave. So all negative people help you leave. But you're not to fall into the trap of having some type of attitude towards them, because they are actually your character developers. Well, the key word for Neptune, which rules Pisces, and the key word for Pisces is I believe. They are some strange creatures, Pisces people. They're like us, aren't you? and like I said, Pisces rules the African in America, and Pisces rules the arts. You'll find more Pisces to be involved in the arts because they are so sensitive, and they rule ballet or the dancing arts, and they rule the movies. And if you're born with the planet Neptune in the 10th house, your career could be involved around the movie industry. Our son was born with Neptune in the 10th house, so that means that he would be involved in the movie industry. The 10th house also represents his father, which is me, so I will be involved in it in some way as well. So you can see this, but what this track is all about, because planets change signs and they kick off certain things that we see every day, only we don't understand where the origin or what the root cause of these things are, or what part we're playing in them. In fact, like I said, everyone is creating their own life. You're either creating heaven or hell. That's on you. So you can't blame your mother or your father, because you chose your mother and you chose your father, and you're going to continue in this way. Now, the planet Neptune, as I said, rules belief systems. Well, the planet Neptune right now, where is Neptune right now? Pisces. Just went into Pisces. First time in 160 years. First time in 160 years. So Pisces rules belief systems. I believe I can, or I believe I can't. Either way, you're correct. But what you want to do is believe for someone else. You want to intercede for others. Because whatever you do for others, you actually are doing for yourself. And you're doing for your family. So if your family has a lineage, there was a survey taken of these two families, a 200-year survey. And one went the route of the spirit, the other went the route of the flesh. And they showed the condition of the lives of those that were in the lineage. The ones that went the way of the flesh, they had all types of problems. In fact, God didn't create us to have that. He wants us to live an abundant life and a life full of joy and love. But you've got to come into that. So, anyone want to ask me a question? What about you, Russ? You want to ask me a question? You always feel this guy has a great family. I saw him as my friend Hussein introduced me to Ross, man, and when he actually the beginning of his family, because he only had a couple children at that time, and then he kind of burst into a basketball team or a football team. basketball team. Got the most beautiful wife in the world. He's a real handsome guy, so all his children can't miss. They're all making great contributions, and their father is out there. Neptune was a Pisces. I don't know whether anyone knew that I said Neptune was a Pisces. I meant E equals MC squared. Einstein was a Pisces. And do you know that his wife left him because he was so smart? She used the kids against him because he was so smart. Now, Einstein was a high school dropout. So how in the world could a person say he was so smart? Well, he was smart. He just didn't cater to the establishment. He was himself. He was his own man. And that's what we have to discover. How to be your own man rather than follow the route of least resistance that most people follow. Now, we're about to get into a type of hell to get people to humble themselves and seek out after God, because a lot of people are going to leave the earth in some type of wave, because Scorpio rules death, and the planet Saturn, which rules the end of it. No more. There's one of the movies, no more lies, and don't bring me no bad news. Don't in the Wizard of Oz. I think that was just so awesome. Like, Michael Jackson was born on a full moon. His mother and father were at odds with each other, and people that are born on a full moon, they can have help if they seek it. If they cease from going round and round the merry-go-round. The Israelites in the Old Testament was an example of wandering in the wilderness, and they kept experiencing the same thing, at the same time every year. They would see the same, and it never dawned on them that they were going round and round. So they only had to travel 11 miles. It took them 40 years. They never got there. So that should tell us a really deep story. Now, again, like I said, I like to go back and forth. But Uranus, because it rules the age we're moving into, and it's the Aquarian age, and an age is like 2,600 years, not 2,000 years like people normally want to apply to it. So you would have to add from the beginning of time, or the beginning of from Christ to now, 2,600 years. I hope I'm saying it right, not twisting it. And anyone can correct me if they hear me say something that is incorrect. Please do. Anyone want to ask me a question, by the way? You could always find the time you're born. Were you born in a hospital? Okay, even if you weren't born in a hospital, after a while, after so many of the, you begin to do the investigation, and you can figure it out, because you'll begin to see the phenomena of your life. So you'll know that this has to be this way because this keeps showing up. If it were other than that. Now that's a highly skilled type thing too, because you have to really become introspective to figure out the time of your birth. Someone else want to ask me a question? Oh yes. Oh, the question is, how can you find out when your time of birth, or how do you? They're not positive. Shoot them. You can go to City Hall. I mean, if you're born in a hospital, you can go to City Hall or to the state. They always have your time. And you can go to the state legislator's office and get it on the spot, because they used to have to go to Royal Spring Garden to the state building, but that's no more. Yeah, but now you can go to your senator's office or and ask him for your time of birth. And I've sent people, and they found out their time of birth. Any other questions? Yes. I'm a Libra with a Taurus moon and Pisces rising. Pisces, as I said, artists, sympathy, prison, hospitals, suffering, drugs. Neptune rules drugs. And we're coming to a time when hypocrisy is going to leave here, because Uranus is going to kick in and hypocrisy is going to go out. So all people that are hypocrites, and the world is full of hypocrites. But if you don't come towards the light and leave the hypocritical society behind, I can tell you what type of malady you're going to have before it happens. I can even tell the type of malady that you're going to have, and if you're going to have an operation, I can know what you're going to have an operation on. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm still in awe of it. I mean, I can't believe that things were so designed that we can play a part in the development of our own life. But we have a Father that says He would help us, and He would never leave us nor forsake us. He would stay with us. So the rising sign, which has to do with the time of birth that you're born, and every rising sign, there are 360 degrees, so every degree has a meaning. There was a society in the Old Testament called the Sabian Society, and they developed what they call the Sabian symbols. Are you familiar with the Sabian symbols? Well, the Sabian symbols are very profound because each degree has a meaning. And if you see what that meaning is, what part you're playing in society, then you won't have to be wondering, who am I and why am I here? Because you will have a greater understanding through that gift that the Sabian Society gave. There was a book, I've had a couple of them, called the Sabian Symbols. And you have the Sabian Symbols? You asked me for my library, no way. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm ready now. I'm ready. Yes.
Which makes it conjunct the sun at New Year.
Yes.
And then that maybe I always wondered why is January 1st, the New Year, where astrologically the 20th is usually
Politics.
from one to another, like one side.
Yeah, right.
And then even spring would be like
Politics.
But right, what is significant about 11 degrees Capricorn?
Well, first of all, everything is broken up into decadence. Like the first 10 degrees of a sign is ruled by the sign it's in. Mm-hmm. The next 10 degrees is ruled by the sign following that sign in that element. For instance, Capricorn is an earth sign. Mm-hmm. First 10 degrees of Capricorn are ruled by what sign? Capricorn. What sign, what earth sign follows Capricorn? Taurus. So the next 10 degrees of Capricorn will be ruled by Taurus. And from 20 to 30 degrees is ruled by that last earth sign, which is Virgo. And Virgo is the sign of work. Virgos are Jamaicans. 10 jobs. And but the key word for Virgo is I analyze. You can find a lot of Virgos in the medical field and in doing research and analytical work. And but Capricorn rules death. And when it conjuncts the sun, it brings death in some form or another. And if Mars, I think Mars may be involved in that too. Because Mars rules war, and Mars rules war. Thanks. Great question. The conjunction of Pluto, it is not exact, but it's like 2 degrees off, and so it could be even further than that because the sun's there as well. Yes, it started at 10 degrees 47 minutes, and Pluto is at 13 degrees 8 minutes, and so it's a conjunction, and it's right there. Mars rules war. Mars is in the sign of humanity. That's Aquarius. Keyword for Aquarius, I know. I know some strange Aquarians, but they are here to give humanity inventions. Yes. Oh, I never finished you. Oh, this is called an ephemeris. This is the logarithms of the solar system. And I have one for the first 50 years of the 21st century, and I have one here for the whole 20th century. And it tells me how fast things are going. The moon travels 12.9 degrees a day. And sometimes the moon speeds up and sometimes it slows down. And that's so infrequently that when it happens, you know that something strange is about to take place, depending on the aspects. Now, I know I jump around. I still haven't finished the Pisces, Libra, and Taurus moon. Taurus moon is exalted. In fact, they call it exaltation. The moon is exalted in Taurus. Can make a person lazy. Can, because they, things seem to, someone's going to take care of them. But when Mercury, when you're ascendant, Pisces is making a sextile to your moon. That means that you have an opportunity to see the light. You have an opportunity to understand things behind the scenes, or that why a person does what they do. If you were born in South America and you never saw television, you were born in the jungle, and so you have a chart, you have a nature, but your culture is so that it reflects the culture. Libra rules balance. Libra is the opposite sign of Aries. Aries rules war. So what do you think Libra rules? If Aries rules war, what do you think Libra rules? Well, actually, it rules the general. The general. The statistician. For war. They send the Aries out to war because the Aries were born to go to war. Now, Libras are, throughout time, they made the best generals. They are cardinal air sign. Oh, there are three types of signs. Cardinal, fixed, and mutable. That means just like developing a negative. You put it in the developer, then you put it in, you put it in the developer, yes, then you put it in the fix, and then you put it in the wash. That's cardinal, developer, fix, and wash, mutable. So mutable signs are some of the most intelligent signs in the solar system. But they are not starters. They are what you would have on your team to help you with your analytical work or your writing, because a school begins in Virgo, and which rules Mercury, and school ends in Gemini, which Mercury rules Gemini. So Virgo rules down to earth, and Gemini rules out and about. So they let you out of school so that you can go out and about to continue to collect data, because Gemini is a data collector, and Libra rules balance, and if you don't, you can see how out of balance you are by pain and suffering, or the body. The body is every part of the body is ruled by a sign, and if you are not using your gifts properly, every time Pinocchio would tell a lie, his nose got long. So if you see, because God has mercy on us, if you see that you've been conducting yourself inappropriately, because you might have gout, or you might have whatever malady or disease you might have that you created yourself, then you can humble yourself and heal yourself, and not have to go to the establishment that are only going to use you and abuse you. So, that's not what their intent is, but they can't help it, because theirs is a world that's different from the light. There are many dominions on this earth, many heavens, many hells on this earth. Anyone want to ask me another question? Yeah.
Yeah. The dynamic between Capricorn, Pluto,
Oh, thank you.
Capricorn, and Scorpio, Saturn and Scorpio.
That's a great combination.
Yes, and it's happening now.
Yes, great combination. Capricorn rules business as well, and governments, the governments throughout the world. So we're going to see, within the next 10 years, we could see a one world government begin to be birthed during that time. You also, if you want to get rich, you can get rich during this time too by learning to use your subconscious mind. You know, what do I mean by learning to use your subconscious mind? Well, program it, feed it. I wisdom dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty invention. So, witty inventions, everything we see comes from what we cannot see. So in order for you to participate in the lottery or participate in God's gift, all you have to do is begin to be still and know that I am God. Begin to be still. I say read Proverbs out loud because it helps to convert the soul and it gives you wisdom. Now, a lot of people may not understand that. So what I'm doing isn't necessarily meant for everybody. So I know that some people can hear and some people can't. And it's all right, because some people were made for evil and some people were made for good. Now, that may not sound right or may not sound fair, but I say that's the way the Creator created it. But actually, the person who stepped into the evil side, he chose it. Because you can't kill 13 people and then kill yourself and think you've escaped the system. You actually have put yourself in a really hard place because you have to fulfill what it is you created. So that's why we've got to love each other and be patient with each other. And that's what Venus represents. And I can go on and on. Any other question? And that's called battling of the wills. If you don't put the light in her while she's young, because she's going to marry someone like you. She's actually she's going to marry you. Now I'm not. This is no Oedipus anything. I'm not talking about that. And for those that may not understand what I'm saying, because she can't help but marry you. So if you are of the light, because your sons are in cardinal signs, that means that they butt each other. But because you are her father, you can really massage. You say she's Capricorn, so in 10 years she could make you rich. Could make you rich. Could make you rich. Now a person will say, well, what do you mean could make her rich? Well, you may have to go get some headshots, or get rid of that word. If you want to chase your tail, use the word try. It'll cause you to go round and round in circles, and then you'll say, but I've been trying this all my life and it never works. I said, because it has no substance there. Water signs, the elements and the signs and how the energies are used. I said earlier, cardinal, fixed, immutable, equating itself with the developing process. You got to take it step by step with her. Step by step. You got to read the Bible to her. I used to read the Bible to our son when he was a little boy. I go in his room and I just read to him. And I could see the effects of it. I could see the effects of it because I could see it. I was born with the sun in the ninth house. The ninth house is I see. So I can see things. And I can see what the problem is. I can see how to solve a situation. But I can't make a person do anything. You know, a person, this is volitional. You have to come from in your own self to make the correction. So most people choose the establishment because they don't think that they can heal themselves. So they choose the establishment, and once the establishment gets a hold of you, if you come out of it, God bless you. But most of the time, people don't. Any other questions? Oh, that's a very similar combination as you. I've seen a lot of that combination. And it doesn't make any sense on the surface because we have fire and earth. And when I first started observing the phenomena of disassociated attractions, because I was in awe of it. I said, what in the world does a Leo see in a Capricorn? Well, Capricorns are full of energy and they rule the success in life. And Leos were born to show off. Any Leos in here? Well, if any of you have a Leo for a child, don't squelch their showing off. Let them show off. In fact, encourage it. Encourage it. Just that they would do it decently and in order, and not around people that want to put them down. Let them show off because they were born to show off. What does the sun do when it comes up? It shows off. Does any other planet come near to it? No. It really dwarfs everything around it. And there is a sun called the biggest sun known to man. It may be a zillion times larger than our sun, and it's a sun. It's called. Someone know the name of it? Didgeridoo, or well, it's a really big fireball. Not quite. I'll think of it in a second. I started to speak about the three types of energies: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And cardinal signs are born to do things, to start things. The planet Pluto is in a cardinal sign right now, and Pluto rules change, transformation. So we're going to have a different world whether people participate in it or not. We're going to have a different, where the governments are going to be different. Pluto, because it doesn't take any prisoners, and Pluto rules the underworld. Sagittarius, you find a lot of Sagittarius to be gangsters because they're everything that Pluto is, plus a lot of nerve. You know, like what's his name that started the gambling in Nevada? I think he was Sagittarius. Bugsy Siegel. And so the cardinal, fixed, and mutable side. Now, Pluto, because it's in Capricorn, and it's squaring Uranus. Squares from Pluto to Uranus can produce some really powerful, over-the-top energy. More over-the-top than you could imagine.
It's happening now.
It's happening right now. Now, God only allows us to be fools of ourselves for a second, and then he comes in and he allows us, actually we're the ones that wipe our own selves out because we have mistreated, misused our heart. And it's all about the heart. We've got to guard our heart for out of it come the issues of life. The sun rules the heart. And wherever your sun is, that's where you should really do your best work because that's who you are. That's where you belong. And any other question? Ruled by Neptune. But that close is not going to be for quite a while. We won't see it.
But I'm saying, what do you think our role in the closed is?
Purification. The need, pure and simple. A need to purify the heart. You got to purify the heart so you can see God. So when you look in the mirror, you'll see God. You got to purify the heart so when you look in the mirror, you will see God. If you don't purify your heart, if you go along with the program, the earthly program, then you're never going to see God. Because he has nothing to do, even though he set it up like that. But I think it's possible for us to find our way. And for us to be given opportunities, because all you have to do is ask, show me, make me wise, open my eyes, that I might behold wondrous things out of the law. And that's where the cardinal fixed immutable, because everything is seasonal, everything in its season. The planet Jupiter right now went into Leo on the 17th of July. Leo rules showmanship, rules the theater, rules the affairs of the heart. And let me just sidetrack a little bit. 1938, the planet Pluto went into Leo, and it stayed in Leo into 1956. So all the people that were born between 1938 and 1956 are cheats.
Cheats?
Cheats.
Cheats.
Cheat. They cheat on their spouse, or whether it be literal or in their minds, but they cheat on their spouse, men and women. So how you stop the hemorrhaging or heart problems, because Leo rules the heart, how you eliminate that is purify your heart and don't participate. You know, we have seen, when I was growing up, I never knew men and women slept in the same bed so far as television were concerned, because Ozzie and Harriet, slept in that bed, and they all slept in single beds. And I watched from watching that to never hearing them say a bad word on television, or we went from one phase where television even went off at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night, and now it's on all the time, and now it has gotten to the point where we're seeing almost anything on that television. So that could be a trick, because the enemy comes to rob, steal, and destroy. And this period that we're in right now, we could see the enemy really wreak havoc on the human race, because we're not guarding against the wiles of the devil. We're actually participating with him. So did I answer your question? Thanks.
Rich, I got a friend born August the 27th, 1959.
August 27th?
August 27th, 1959. A great person, present as far as God's self, sharing that, artist, poet. But she doesn't believe in astrology. What do you think?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't believe in astrology either.
Yeah.
What's the birthday again?
August 27th.
Did you hear what I said? I don't believe in astrology either,
Yeah.
but I know it works.
1959.
She had a horrible time with her mother. Her mother might have abused her while she was growing up. But she's a genius. She's so smart. Her mother is so smart. But they have idiosyncrasies that are bordering on death wishes, or having some extremes that, they're taking themselves to extremes. The statement you just made was an extreme. But she is definitely a gifted person. Moon in Leo, Uranus conjuncting the moon, which makes her very high strung, and it squares Jupiter, so that means that she promises more than she can deliver. And because of pride, combinations like this, the way in which you resolve it is to die to the ego. Unless a corn of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it abides alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. So this combination, anytime you see the combination of Leo and Scorpio, that's just, now, all of us have to die to our ego. But some of us have a stronger propensity than others. But this combination, if they don't let it go, can produce cancer, or can produce maladies that you wish you had let it go. But pride sometimes just overtakes us. You said September,
I said
August, what again?
27th.
August 27, 59, right?
Yes.
Mother and father were not getting along, and hard for him to get along with himself. Some of the things that they may say or do, and this person is really smart. I mean, I might have just said that, but they are really, really intelligent. You know, I was looking at the wrong birthday before. I was looking at October 27th. I would never admit that all I just said, I was looking at the wrong birthday, because everyone looks like I know what I'm talking about. But I was at the wrong birthday. You said the 27th of August, 1959.
Yes.
Moon in Gemini, and then just nix everything. Not
Yeah.
nix everything. You know, I make mistakes, believe it or not. My wife, this is the first one I made this year. Uh, this person has Mercury in Leo and Jupiter in Scorpio. So what I said is still applicable. And that's the mercy of God. That's what that is. Nice looking. Oh, very attractive. In fact, so much so, they could look like Raggedy Ann and they get wolf calls. This a male or female?
It's a female.
Well, she definitely is good looking and has a great appeal to the opposite sex, so much so, if she doesn't handle the sexual drive properly, because she is so like that. I'm talking about strong sexual drive, which means that she could create an empire. So on the lower end, people that have signatures like this can sex themselves to death or build an empire. It's either going to be sexing themselves to death or empire building.
That's the Scorpio planets.
That's the Scorpio planet. Yeah, she has Jupiter in Scorpio, and but her Uranus is conjuncting her Mercury, which makes for artistic and showmanship and really showing off in an unusual way. And sometimes it may be hard for people to take, but she is a softie. All I just said, and then I looked at Neptune. She has Neptune in Scorpio, sextiling her sun. It's sextiles deal with opportunity. Water and earth signs are earthly, and they're more down to earth. Where fire and air signs are more etheric. I'm a fire and air sign person, so here I am, all up in here with the words and the thoughts and receiving inspiration, because that's what fire does. It gives you, in the book of Hebrews, 12th chapter, last verse, God says, the word is a consuming fire. Aromacasis, if anyone ever looked that word up, or that's one of God's names, and I don't see many preachers talk about it, but aromacasis means God is a consuming fire, because everything that gets created begins to die, because that's the way it is here on the earth. Person will make a great investor in stocks and bonds, and maybe even a good playwright, because they have writing skills,
Yes.
and could become very famous. They're honest, and and very, very sexual. Very. I mean, I just looked at another aspect. The planet Pluto conjuncts the sun. That represents power, and they can, through purification, through words, well, all of us, but they have a natural facility for it, because Pluto rules the sun. Conjuncting the sun represents the transformer. Now, this person is a transformer, no doubt. Anyone I know?
No.
Oh.
All right, so now that you've gotten the book and you're getting real definitive here, 9/26/53, 5:30 p.m. That's my date.
9/26,
53,
9/26, 53.
5:30 p.m.
Yes. Oh, you said, oh, you had Pisces rising. Yes. But you have Mercury in Libra. You might fight depression. You might have a battle with depression because you're a natural business person. So business people have to kind of tote that barge and lift that bale. But you don't have to. That's in that world. in the world I'm wooing you to, that you can sit still and begin to use your imagination, because that Pisces represents imagination, and but you're a rebel. It's hard for you to deal with authority in any way. You were born to be your own person, so you can't acquiesce to the establishment, because you're the one setting the established some type of establishment yourself. But yeah, Jupiter in Gemini, and that's the sign of more than one, the writer. Mars in Virgo, squaring your Jupiter, so you've got to be careful of your digestive system. Your digestion and your lungs are you need to really cherish them and massage them, and get away from dairy and certain foods that clog this up. Your father was right on you, or an older person as you were growing up. You did say, I almost did it again. The 26, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know, I have Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo is notorious for not being loving. You know, we're here to serve. Ross, I can't believe it. we're here to say, I'm just messing with you. Yeah, Venus. You have Venus in Virgo. You have Venus in Virgo and Mars in Virgo. And that means you're really analytical, very, very analytical. And what was your question?
Well, again, I just gave you the date because, again, like, okay, we just give you this scenario. Right now, I've been going, I heard you say something about accidents. I've been going through the last 3 summers, I've had a series of various different kinds of accidents.
I already answered your question.
And I heard you say that again. So I want you to
I already answered.
together.
I said that you're a rebel, and you got to learn to do things decently and in order. I'm not saying that rebellious spirit of you is not here to serve mankind. I'm saying that you've got to learn how to put it in its place, so you will stop having the accidents, because accidents are not accidental, but it's just dealing with your heart, and you got to slow down. You know, not slow down as, slow down, you're going to have an accident. You're overboard with the analytical. Anything analytical, overboard, just too much. Just stop it. Like just be still and know that I am God. And your your Mercury in Libra squares Uranus, which further exasperates your rebellion. And I'm not saying, again, that's not a good thing. It can be a really good thing. Who was the greatest rebellion? Who was the greatest personality that was a rebel more than any other person ever walked the face of this earth? Yes. Yes. So, anyone understand that? Why I said that? There's nothing wrong with being a rebel. Nothing wrong with it. And everyone can be a rebel. Everyone's not designed to be a rebel. You were designed to be a rebel. Okay, so fantastic. Your moon squares Pluto. So your mother and you might have contentions that are secret towards each other. Might have even some things that are secret that only you know, that you've had to help yourself overcome feelings of self-worth that came through your mother. Oh, you did say she was Capricorn, yes. See, now, Capricorn is the sign of the achiever, and I think the smartest people in the world are Capricorn people. I'm not Capricorn, And every time I say that, people say, you must be a Capricorn. Well, you know, if you learn to use what it is you have, it doesn't matter how much of it you have. It doesn't matter whether you're the smartest or the dumbest. But if you learn how to use what it is that you have, you can glorify God. The symbol for the three gifts. One received 10 talents, 5 talents, and 1 talent. And the one that had the 1 talent, he buried it. He says, "You're tough, and I couldn't use what it is you gave me." And so he says, "I'm gonna give what you have, and I'm gonna give it to the person that had 10 talents, because they worked it." You got to work what you have. I don't care what it is that you have to work with. If you have a penny, go buy a stick pretzel and have have a stand and sell half the pretzel for a penny and sell the other half for a penny. Then you have 2 pennies. but I mean in relationship to working with what you have. So Jupiter's going to go into Libra in 2 years. 2 years. So during this time, while Jupiter is in Leo, and you have Pluto in Leo, you could inherit some money during this time. Some type of inheritance could come your way. You got to practice calling those things to be not as though they were. Give me an example of what I just said. I'm 10 feet tall. I'm 10 feet tall. Yeah, I'm kind of giving you an example. I said calling those things to be not as though they were. As not as though they were. That's why I said I'm 10 feet tall. I saw a guy that was 6'8", and I was so jealous of him. Because I like basketball. I always thought I was going to become a professional basketball player, not a professional talker. But Iyanla Vanzant is born in your year. In fact, she's born on the 14th of September, 1953. And you have writing skills as well. You just have to make up your mind what you want to do. I'll say read Proverbs from beginning to end, like 31 chapters. Make yourself read it out loud, and ask for direction, and then send me a check. Any other question?
Thank you. You know what? I want to get a Bible, but what Bible is the best one to get?
I personally like King James. I read all types of biblical work. I mean, I've been reading King James to my son since he was born, so he has. I like to speak of my son because he was my experiment, not experiment, but I poured my life into him, and it shows. And we are such fortunate people to have had an inkling of what to do while he was born. Because I started him working out when he first came home in the crib. I started him doing sit-ups. And when he was 1, we'd run around the schoolyard in the snow. And we'd read. And he has continued that. Now he looks like Mr. Atlas, and he's an actor. Anyone ever see Austin and Ally? It's a Disney program.
Yeah.
Well, you saw my son, because he's the only black person on there.
My birthday is 6/2/1983, and I was born at 1/6/1983.
Okay, hold on. 83, you said, right?
Yeah.
83. 83. One more time.
June 2nd, 1983.
Oh, June 2nd. Okay. June 2nd, 83.
1/6/1983.
Oh, you have Aquarius moon. You have Aquarius moon. There's a lot of mixing with you. On one end, you could be as fast as all get out, and then sometimes where someone asks you a question, take you a long time to give an answer. So you would say, Well, what's up with that? Well, you have Mercury and Taurus. Any Taurus is here? Taurus is the slowest sign in the zodiac. But it doesn't, I'm not saying dumb. I said slow. Because you got to be slow to handle the money. And you have Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter in Sagittarius. Your mother Sagittarius by any chance?
I think my mother is a Capricorn.
December
Birthday is January 14th.
14th is your father is Sagittarius.
I don't know when his birthday is.
Okay. You have Jupiter in Sagittarius in opposition to your sun. Don't promise more than you can deliver. Don't stop. Now that's where the slowness helps you a lot, so you won't be promising more than you actually can deliver. You have inventive genius. Make a great housekeeper, homemaker, cook, clean. You love interior decorating. You love traveling. You're going to travel all over the world. And you could make a great preacher or someone who's going to give out the truth in some way. You got Jupiter in Sagittarius, Uranus in Sagittarius, Neptune in Sagittarius, Mars in Gemini conjuncting your sun, which means that your husband or father could have been a pugilist or could have been a fighter, could have been one who traveled for a living or took a lot of short trips or worked for the post office. You're an honest woman. That sounds so. That's what everyone wants, an honest woman. And you're gifted. You have gifted where your father was not able to give you what you needed. So don't blame him because you chose him. So you've got to, the man you marry, it'd be much easier for you to submit yourself to him than not. Because as you do, you'll get everything you want. That doesn't make any sense because our culture is just the opposite. You gonna listen to him? Because you have Saturn in Libra, 29 degrees. That represents someone who has perfected. You're going to marry. Are you married?
I'm separated.
Now you know what I just said. You got to humble yourself. Is your husband Cancer? Or
He's from Uganda. He lied about his birthday when he came over here. I don't know. He told me so many lies. I don't know what from was not.
oh, then he may be a Virgo. Well, let me tell you before you run that down. You are like that too. Now, it may not necessarily, it may not be apparent to you because it's not always, but you give yourself a little time and you'll find yourself slipping in, well, reflecting that same type thing, but it's a variation on the theme. I would never talk about him like that again in public. Even if he is all those things you just said, you say that he's just the opposite. Even though he demonstrates what you say he demonstrates, you say he's just the opposite and watch him come. Now, I know, I want to say I know I'm bad, and I do, but I mean, in relationship to this phenomena, do you know when you say you're never going to do something, that's the very thing you're going to do? In fact, people should stop it with the criticism because that's them. And we have to love. When you criticize, love goes out the window. So we have to learn how to love regardless of whether the person is qualified or not, because we need it so. Yes.
I didn't say it to like criticize him, but it's just like when he messes
Well, I hear that. And I hear that a lot. I mean, in relationship to when I make that statement, people will come with that statement. But I say you got to break it. You got to break that cycle. Even if he doesn't come back to be the person that you called, someone else will take his place that'll be just what you said. Now that's heavy, but you got to stay with it. Stay with it. Anyone else? Did I talk to you earlier? 85 you said, right? You just want me to talk to you again? You said 11-6, right? Yeah, you're a show-off. You have a Leo moon. You're born to show off. But you're a smart guy. You're a really intelligent man. I said that to you before. And you just, there's opposition between you and your family. Your family has one religion, and you see it another way. Yes, okay, thank you. I got to tell me again. 11-6-85. All right, thank you. 11-6-85. Thanks. The reason I said what I said, you have a Leo moon, and Leos are born to show off, and your moon squares Saturn, so you're gonna be attracted to a woman that's gonna give you a hard time. She's not here, is she?
Right.
Oh, 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 oh. Well.
And what else? Don't even dare. Are they going to figure it out?
Well, see, that's a great question. That's a great question. It's all about humility. Humility. And the moon is a reflection of the sun. But most women don't, I ain't his reflection. I ain't nobody's reflection. I said, oh, yes, you are too, whether you like it or not. I told my son he's going to become like me, whether he liked it or not. I said, because everything comes forth of his own kind. And what is that about? Something falls from the tree? Something, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree? Because he's already given me experience. I mean, well, anyway, but let me go back. Too much sex. That's going to kill you. You can't do it like that. A lot of people when I make a statement like that, they say, who do you think you are to be telling me what I can and cannot do? I said, well, listen, you want to sow the fire, so you're going to find yourself in the fire, and you may not like the way your skin looks when you come out of it, because it's going to burn you up in some way. Burn you up. Scorpio rules burn you up diseases. So that's that. But you have prophetic. You are a prophet. You're a prophet. Yep, he's got prophetic utterances.
Is it a prophet?
Yeah, you have prophetic abilities. Like you can see things before they happen.
You major, man.
Pardon me?
You major, man.
You major.
You're saying I'm correct.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing me to be myself. But what you got to tell me again.
11-6-85.
All right, six. Yeah, six. Oh yeah, you're a cat's meow. Yes, you are. That's what this says. That he's a cat's meow. Now, anytime you see Venus and Mars conjuncting one another, that is a symbol. Mars rules men, Venus rules women, and when those two planets conjunct one another, that represents a type of attraction or appeal to the opposite sex or to any sex. They've got that going on strong. So if they're young and dumb, they may use it and it comes back and bites them. But if they are wise, they'll be gracious and use it to sell someone something. Because they got that ability to sell snowballs to Eskimos. And yours takes place in the you have Venus in Libra and Mars in Libra. Saturn in Scorpio. You're a businessman. You're a natural businessman, and boy, you like doing research. You like doing research. You're a business person. You can see through people. You said it again. And you can come back from the dead. But you don't have to go there. But you can come back if you want to continue violating principles. It's going to take you to the dead, close to it, because there's some degree of humanity in you that's going to keep you safe. But you don't want to use up all your lives. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? 21685 is that your mother?
No.
Who?
Me.
Oh, you're that young? 21685. 21685. Oh. Two 1685. You have the moon in Capricorn. You're a businesswoman. Your mother, you look like your father. You take after your father's side of the family. The older you get, you're going to think you're his father. You're your father. You're as smart as a whip. You are so smart that you think you could tell your parents and tell anyone older than you because you know better than they do. And so that's going to give you more responsibility early in your life because you know better than they do. Is that not right? See that? So you don't have any respect for authority. You gotta respect authority. Come on. Because because you're the authority. Oprah Winfrey has the same combination. She doesn't respect the authority either, and she can give away 500 cars. She'll never be poor. You know why Oprah Winfrey will never be poor? Not because she has $1 billion, but because she's a giver. Whatever you give is going to be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. One more time.
No, 216.
Thank you. 21685. Oh, you have that same type. You have that same type of allurement. You got to give the brothers a break. Because you could draw them in and have your way with them. I'm talking about, but you beat them up. 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 You beat them.
Literally? Is that a
Literally.
Okay.
Literally. And then you wonder why they don't stay around. You got to be patient. With patience possess ye your soul. I wish someone had talked to me about sex when I was young, because if I had never opened the door, I would have never entered into that mess. That was like hell, because spirits come. When you open the sexual door when you're young, spirits come in and have their way with you. And you think that it is a natural thing because everyone's sexual, and you think that you're on track because everyone's sexual. But you don't know. There's a guy that played for the Lakers. I admire him to all get out. He's since retired. I don't know how many years. What's his name? Anyone remember his name? No, no. He was. He had his rep was.
Dennis Rodman?
No, he was. He was. No, I said the Lakers. He was a 37-year-old virgin in the NBA. I said, who whispered in his ear? Because his life is going to be so different than anybody else's. Because he will have a chance to experience heaven on earth without having to go through hell to get there.
Tracy Green or somebody.
Green. AC Green. That's it. AC Green. Everyone ever hear AC Green?
Yeah.
All right. You have to give it. I'm beginning to get there.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to
Well,
get
the
there.
tape has 5 minutes left.
5 minutes? Okay. All right.
I was going to change the tape.
Oh, were you?
I mean, I wasn't going to stop it.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Did I answer your question? You have to kind of help me sometime.
I don't think she want to know anymore right now. I think she said move on.
What about 326, 77?
326, 77. 326. Talk. Born to write. Born to write. Smart as all get out. Pretty as all get out too. Born to do things that have never been done before. Moon in Gemini. Keyword for Gemini is I think. Neptune's in opposition to the moon, so that means the mother has problems. She has problems with her belief system. She may cause this person suffering. I hope she's not here. But then it doesn't matter, even if she were here. Going to have a lot of money, a lot of travel, a lot of money. Be kind to her because she's going to be rich. You know, you want to, if she wants a lollipop and it's just, and you get ready to eat your dinner, give it a lollipop. One more time. March.
26, 77.
All right, thank you. She's having a hard childhood. She's having a hard way going as a child. And the purpose for the hard childhood is so that when she comes out of it, because she will, she's going to assist other children with their heart.
Go.
My name is Richard Whitten. That's Whitten, like Whiten and Brighten Your Life. My number is 267-408-8438. And that's going to be my number in California as well. So anyone wants to get in contact with me, that's the number. I've been doing this work for over 40 years, and I'm still in awe of it. And this is blackandnobels.com.
Excuse me, what is this?
Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel has afforded us this opportunity to take me in this session where I can kind of run my mouth a little bit or share the wisdom that has been afforded me. I tell you, I can't say enough, or thank God enough, because this woman, Mrs. Carter, who was 87 when I first met her, she took me to 7 different spiritual people to lay hands on me when I was in my 20s. And she introduced me to some really powerful spiritual people Now, I didn't know it at that time, what they were or what was going on, because I'm a young person who's just being introduced to the unseen, and I'm so fortunate that she did that because it has kept me from being destroyed. Did I complete the act? Okay. Astrology is a divine science. God wants us to enjoy this life. Each and every one of us is made in his image and likeness. Each and every one of us is born to glorify him. Be about your Father's business and glorify him. And begin to recognize that your character and your destiny are the same.
All right, Mr. White.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you.